This is Mrs. Rounding, your school librarian again, and we are going to be reviewing a little bit on how to search our library databases and also how to cite an article or information you might find in our databases in our NoodleTools citation program. This is a skill that's really important senior year for a variety of the projects you'll be working on. And so I want to give you a brief tutorial on how to get started on searching and the easiest way to transfer things to your Noodle Tools profile. When you start off, we're going to start off in our class link page because this is one of the easiest ways to get to our library resources. When you are on your Launchpad, you'll see a bunch of different apps. In order to get to this Launchpad, you're going to click on the class link at the very top left of the page. You want to make sure that you're launching in with your own username and password. It will ask you if you need to log in. And we're going to start off in the library resources folder. When we click on this, you'll see there's a couple different places you can visit. We're going to want to skip right to the Odyssey Library database page because this is where we're going to be focused today. We also want to go back and open up Noodle Tools in a second tab, just because we're going to want to go back and forth between these two resources, and it will be really helpful to have both of them opened. So when you open up Noodle Tools, it may ask you to log in, but it may also just let you right into your projects. So I am going to showcase one particular database today. When we go back to our database page, if you'd like to follow along, I'm going to showcase one database page to show you the easiest way to search through some of our resources. At the top, you'll notice that there is an ELA and ebooks category. Since we're focusing on that today, we'll stay up in this box, but you'll notice as you scan down the page, we have history, we have science, we have viewpoints. Opposing viewpoints will be really helpful when you get into your CIA paper later this year. And then there's also a general bank of databases. All of these function very similarly by offering us extremely credible resources at a very high cost to the school, and that's why we really want to make sure everyone's utilizing these to the best of our ability. So ELA and ebooks, we want to start off by clicking on the Literature Resource Center. This is a sample of a Gale database, and all of the Gale database interfaces look very similar. There is a search box at the top. There are ways to browse different categories depending on what particular database you are in. For the Literature Resource Center, we can view all the featured authors. We can view all the featured works. If we're wanting to browse, we can use the topic finder to make connections between search terms and topics that we might be interested in. But for a sample search, I'm going to go ahead and type in Maya Angelou because I know that she's one example of somebody that we might be interested in searching for literature purposes for an ELA class, but really you can type anything into the search to begin your research on a project. You'll notice here, once I have typed in my search, a lot of different types of results will pop up and they will break them down by category here at the top. So we have literary criticism, we have biographies, we have topic and work overviews, we have reviews and news, and we even have primary sources and literature works, which is extremely helpful, as well as multimedia. So the database does a lot of work for us so that we can decide, okay, well, perhaps today I'm looking for literary criticism. Perhaps I'm looking for a particular work of Maya Angelou. And so you may want to add in Maya Angelou and whatever particular work that you might be interested in. So as you can see, when I type in and, a lot of Maya's different poems pop up right away. Or I might have to type in a different title that I'm looking for. But for example, we can look at Farewell by Maya Angelou, a poem. And right now I've narrowed down pretty quickly one primary source and literary work related to this particular poem. And so perhaps we'll have to do a few different searches by typing in different keywords in the search. But once I get where I'm going, I may be very interested in this particular article for whatever project I'm working on. And this is the same for any particular database you're using on our page. At the top, you'll notice there's an author listed. It'll give you the sourcing information. Notice here in the middle, there is an option to send to Google Drive, which means that now in all of our databases, we can go ahead and send articles directly to our drive. It will open up a folder in our drive that says Literary Resource Center, and it will save things directly to our Google Drive. So right now, this document has been sent to my Google Drive. It will appear in a folder that says Literature Resource Center. It's as simple as that. So we can go ahead and research and save articles, or as I had you open NoodleTools earlier, at the very bottom of every single article is a source citation. You'll notice this one's an MLA 8th edition. If you want to switch the different sourcing options, you can select APA 7th or Chicago 17th. MLA 8th is what we will most likely be using. You can click on the select and export to NoodleTools right here, which is super easy to source, especially if we've already created a NoodleTools account. It will open up for us. We can take a look at the site that it has created for us, the citation. We can make sure that these references look good and I don't need to edit them, or you can click on the button, I see an error and I need to make these changes to it. Now we're going to select what particular project are we importing this citation into. And as you can see, if you pull the drop-down menu, all of your projects that you've created in NoodleBib will be right here for you. Or you can select a new project because this may be the first source in a project that you are going to be adding many different citations to, and you may want to select that. So I'm going to go ahead and just select new project, and I'm going to click on import references. Here at the top, you'll see there is a green message that my reference was successfully exported to my new project. And I can go ahead and either click back to the NoodleTools main page and take a look at maybe what I just added in my new project, or I can go to one of my other places to continue working. But as simple as that, when I was in my database page, all I had to do was click on select and I export to NoodleTools, and it went right in for me. And that is as easy as can be when we're using NoodleTools in conjunction with our databases. Thing I want to add in related to NoodleTools at the end of this video is that once we've added in a few different citations and you've been researching for a little while, you want to go into your NoodleTools projects to make sure that the citations looked correct the way that you wanted them to be added in. And so I added mine into a new project for October 16th, which is today's date, and I can go and either rename that project or keep it as is. But essentially, once you are into your dashboard of your project, you'll want to click on the sources link at the top. NoodleBib does a lot of different things. We can make note cards for our sources. We can actually write our paper in Google Docs using NoodleTools. But when we click on sources, you'll see that my citation is added in here. And as long as I'm happy with it, I can keep it as is. As my sources get added to my list, you'll see that my list will actually grow as we go along. Over here on the right-hand side of the page in NoodleBib, there are options for you to edit your citation, to delete it, or even when you're writing a paper to get an in-text citation so that when you are going along in your paper, it will show you how to create that in-text citation. Again, a really cool feature that NoodleBib offers. So again, when I'm on my projects, I have a lot of different projects that I've created through the years. And if I have one open that has a few more citations for you to look at, you'll see under this particular project, I've had 4 different citations. When you are finished and ready to print off your bibliography page or your works cited page, you're going to go to the print export option at the top, and you're going to print export to Google Docs. This is how you will eventually turn in a works cited page to your teacher, and this goes for any content area. You can create projects for all different content areas. They will save right in your projects, and then when you are ready to create your works cited, you simply go to export, and here opens up my sources for writing to analyze, a paper that I worked on last year. And I can either copy and paste to the end of my Google paper, my Google Doc paper I'm working on. I can turn it in right here to my teacher by sharing it. So there are a lot of different options. So that takes us to the end of this session for a basic overview of how to search a database, how to move those sources over to NoodleTools, and I'll be back again with some other tips as we move along throughout the year.